my main question is tournament morning. What time to start? What time should somebody show up there? What should we expect? What happens?
Welcome to a bonus edition of the Kayak Bass Connection podcast. We're the official podcast of the Southern Illinois Kayak Club, and I'm your host, Jared. Now, sometimes what I found out is the best conversations in a podcast sometimes happens after I hit the stop recording button. That's exactly how this bonus episode come up. We had just finished doing an interview with two relatively inexperienced tournament anglers, Keith and Jacob, and as soon as I hit stop, I thought the interview was over. One of them asked a really good question. I thought, we got to get this on tape. So I hit record again, and little did I know we were going to go into a 10-minute conversation that had 20 fantastic tips. So let's jump right into that conversation.
So I guess my main question is tournament morning. What time to start? What time should somebody show up there? What should we expect? What happens? Do I just need to worry about getting my kayak in the water at a certain time, or is there like a protocol? Or you just show up and we figure it out as we go?
I think it's kind of your personality will dictate that. I don't like crowds. I don't want to be crowded at the ramp. And I have, I don't know, what is it? One of those little things where I hate being late. So I'm always incredibly early. So I like to get there early and then get my kayak on the ramp and in the water and then just sit and bullshit with people for like 35 minutes. Then usually I have to use the restroom, so that'll happen. Tournament season really knocks you out of your normal schedule, so that happens usually at the ramp before I go. So I like to get there early.
Bring the baby wipes.
Yeah, bring the baby wipes. I always carry toilet paper with me, just in case the public ones run out. But yeah, I like to be out there and not be in the traffic or try to unload and load and stuff. But I will say there are people that will show up and like their trucks will pull in right when it's 5 minutes and they back in, they go and they're fine. So I mean, it's kind of like I said, it's just your personality. Do you want a nice, relaxed, drinking your coffee and bullshitting with everybody and listening to music and or do you want to be rushed and dump off and go? I prefer the be early approach in my opinion.
Yeah. And I'm assuming it's not dark. It's going to be daylight before there's actual takeoff and lines out time.
Those spring tournaments, it's going to be dark when we're unloading. It'll be pitch black. Bring a headlamp because it's going to be dark out. I mean, those lines in and those early spring tournaments like at Coffeen this year, lines in will be like 6:30 or something, and it's going to be dark up until 6:30. I mean, it's
you want to make sure you've got like a 360 light on your kayak. So you can get
but
where
summertime, it's bright as day when you get there, and it's easy. But yeah, it'll be dark out. Don't lock your keys in your car. I can't stress enough for new people. Don't be in a hurry. Make checklists because I've seen it all. I remember one of the best anglers in the history of the club was Glenn, and I saw Glenn lock his keys in his car in the first SIC tournament. We almost had to bust his window out to get his keys out.
Don't psych yourself out, especially, Keith, like you said earlier about your goals. You know what? I remember a couple of tournaments. I literally said, okay, I'm going to launch probably after everybody leaves. Also, because I'm not great at backing up, and you'll find out if you get a trailer like I do, it gets really interesting if you wait till like 10 minutes before blast off and then you try to back a trailer down the ramp.
You really don't have to be in a hurry. And I forget who said this one time, and I'm sure there's an exception. I'm sure somebody will tell me that they pushed off first one out of the gate and caught 5 20-inch fish in 10 minutes. And if they weren't the first one out, they wouldn't have done it. But in my opinion, and I think this holds true, no tournament has ever been won in the first 15 minutes. So if you're like Jared and I'll wait for everybody gets out in the water and then I'll back my shit in and go. You're not losing because of that 15 minutes. Same thing. No tournament's ever been won in the first 15 minutes. I don't think anybody's ever lost in the first 15 minutes either, unless you dumped your kayak over like Lee did the one time. But other than that, I mean, you can take your time. You don't need to be in a hurry.
Yeah. Another thing to watch out for is that used to be we would have like a little captain's meeting at the ramp, like before blast off. But I think last year and the last couple of years, Josh has started to do like videos that he will send out like 2-3 days before the tournament. He'll send you in your email a link of a video that discusses the rules, and I really like those. That way, you can watch that in advance. If something comes up and you have a question, you can reach out to him and ask him. That way, you also get confirmation which ramp it's at and any other special issues that may be at play. So, watch for that email.
And I'm assuming it's the one time I used Tourney X. I'm assuming it'll be something where you sign up a few days ahead of time and pay your fee and that sort of thing. Is the same way.
Yeah. One other thing that the morning of, you want to make sure you get your wristband. Somebody, usually Josh or somebody that's helping him out, will make sure that everybody that's paid monthly fee. Yeah, the wristband is just an elastic band that's unique to every single tournament event. And
okay, just like the flip that I had on my board, it's you wear a wristband. Okay.
Yeah, we don't use cards or anything. It's a wristband. If that wristband has to be in that picture, otherwise the fish won't count.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And some of the tournaments we go to, Josh will kind of let us launch from different ramps. But if I was first starting off, I'd probably go to the main ramp and not try to get too fancy going to different ramps. Mm-hmm. I don't usually you just screw yourself doing that anyways. But yeah, I'd probably want to go to the main ramps where everybody is just to make sure I can get wristbands and stuff, because there's been times I've showed up at ramps because he said we could go to different ramps and there's been like nobody there. And I'm like, well, I guess I'm not going to have a wristband. And then somebody will show up with the 5 minutes before, and I'm like, oh, okay. So it's kind of, I'd probably veer more on going to the main ramps if there's multiple. But
yeah, they've also started naming staging areas, like so you can get away from the ramp but not leave the general area of the boat ramp. So, but all that is in those messages, those captain's briefings he sends out.
And what about as far as anything any must-haves on my kayak? PFD obviously should be one. The 360 light in the spring, you said it's probably going to be dark. Is there anything else I have to have?
I think those are the
water.
Two. Yeah,
bring yourself some water.
Yeah, make sure you have the catch board.
Yeah, I am, and some of the young guys will say that will say no, that this is stupid, but I'm a big fan of when you're out fishing a ton, and like I said, I usually fish 1 or 2 days a week come springtime. I'm big on UV protection. I mean, I am. Long sleeve shirts, wide brim hat, sunglasses. I wear long pants all year round. They make nice ones. They're Academy. That Magellan brand stuff's pretty nice. You can get more expensive stuff, if you want to get like Sims stuff or something, but there's nothing worse than going out there and getting burned up. When you're out a lot and you get older, you start worrying about those things like skin cancer and stuff. And then and I always fish barefoot. So I always just slop sunscreen all over my feet so they're not all red at the end of the day. Fishing gloves, like Jared said, I have lots of pairs of fishing gloves so I don't get all burned up. But, it's just the technology on clothes is too good these days not to go out there and get burned up. It's pretty comfortable even having long sleeves and pants. I don't see the point of not doing that.
Yeah, if you wear the right long sleeves and even a hood, or a huge hat, it's not going to be windy or anything. I've got a huge straw hat I'll put on, or, like a boonie hat or something to cover the top of your ears. Or if it's possible, you're going to have rain, bring rain gear with you, unless you just want to get soaked.
Yeah. I do not like those rain tournaments. And I spent a pretty penny on rain gear so I could go fish in the rain, and I don't like it. And I don't want to use it. I don't like it.
I got it for Christmas, so hopefully that means I won't have to use it.
That's one rain gear's on my to get list.
Yeah, and I can tell you, even if it's hot outside, it is miserable being soaking wet out there fishing. And I remember that Cedar tournament last year. I was barely even fishing while it was pouring down rain. I just kind of took my time off and was like, this will end at some point.
Almost never did.
So yeah, I get different weather. These are interesting ones because that was the first tournament I remember for a long time that I went to when it was going to be pouring down rain for a significant amount of time. I took a big gallon plastic bag and stuck a bunch of towels in it and put my phone in that, and then put my sunglasses in there. So I stored that in a dry box. So that way I had dry stuff for when the rain quit and I could actually photograph fish. I don't know how people were photographing fish. Like James got that big 22 in the pouring down rain. I didn't even want to catch a fish in it because I didn't know how I was going to photograph.
Yeah, my phone hardly worked.
Yeah, so I was like, what's the point of fishing? I'm not even going to be able to photograph a fish. So then Dalton rigged up the umbrella, which was kind of cool. So,
that might be the move of the year right there. The umbrella hat. No, he didn't have the hat. He just had it rigged out.
He like rigged it up on the back of his box or something. I think I'm going to do that next time because that was pretty convenient.